Hi, we're John and Sharon Wicker. We're international workers with Send International. We spent many, many years in Russia, but now we're privileged to live here in Cochrane and oversee outreach work with our organization here in North America. What does that look like? We focus on work in the far north, as well as among unreached people groups who have been immigrating to Canada and the United States.
So just to give you a little bit of an idea, we'd like to give a couple of stories about those different parts of the world that we work in. Sadly, in the north, many of the isolated communities experience intense challenges of that isolation, including, as you might expect, addictions and mental health crises. For example, one village that one of our workers is in recently experienced the very tragic circumstance of a double murder and a suicide of some young high school graduates. And as you can imagine, the ripple effects of that across the community are huge and very devastating. Our send worker there was able to come alongside people, was actually asked to take the funerals, and was there helping the first responders and also present at the community youth facility to just process with youth after the event. Unfortunately, what happened in that village is not unique in the north. On the one hand, this provides many opportunities for our workers to have contact with people and have conversations at a time when people are very vulnerable. On the other hand, as you can imagine, it does take its toll on everyone in the community.
And these are small communities. This is actually a larger one of about 1,000 people. As we said earlier, we have our workers also working among the unreached people groups who are new immigrants to North America. We hear a lot in the news about immigration and immigration policy. What we sometimes forget, and our on-the-ground workers are faced with every day, is that the vast majority of these immigrants are people just like you and me. They're fleeing some situation, trying to find a place that they can have a better life, where they can raise their children safely. They have hopes, they have dreams, and they have everyday needs. They've lived through incredible trauma, and some of them face the ongoing trauma of tracking family members who were not able to get away. Some tragic situations. And yet they have to also face the everyday needs of learning a language, of getting their children into school, of getting a job, of finding housing, of figuring out where do you buy groceries, how do you live in this new country. As our workers come alongside them, the contrast, they're able to show love and support to these people, which unfortunately is contrasted by the resentment that they often face, or prejudice, as people just don't see them as people and just as a bunch of people who are coming and taking jobs. One of the things that's very exciting for us to see is that 2 new churches have started up, and our co-workers get to be involved in those among people who have just immigrated from countries that you read about in the news all the time.
So that's a little glimpse into 2 different parts of our ministry world. As we said, we're in leadership, and we have been with our organization for over 32 years already. When we started out, we were asked to raise our financial support, which was some one-time donations and some monthly donors. As we age, our support base also ages, and therefore we have fewer supporters than we used to. So we find ourselves at this point in our lives needing to raise some financial support again. So we would just really appreciate if you would pray for us that God would provide those one-time or regular donors to take us through to retirement.
So as we said, we're in leadership. So appreciate your prayer for wisdom and discernment as we come alongside our workers, wanting to encourage them, wanting to help them to evaluate the best ways to meet the needs in the communities around them. And specifically, please pray for safety as we travel to meet with them. Coming up very soon, I'm going to be flying up to Whitehorse and then driving up the Dempster Highway with one of our workers, going up to Fort McPherson and then on to Inuvik.
Yeah, so there's a glimpse for you. Thank you so much for being part of our church family. We love being here at Cochrane Alliance. And just feel free to come chat with us anytime at all.